Do me a favor and answer this question for me. We're speaking hypothetically now. If Tyson Fury were to regain the heavyweight championship of the world, let's just say tomorrow. Let's say tomorrow Tyson Fury fought Anthony Joshua or Wilder, and let's say he were to beat either one of these guys, and then he holds the belts. He holds, the unified titles against that he won from Joshua, or he holds the WBC belt that he won from Wilder. Answer this for me. How long do you think he will be able to hold on to that belt? 3 years? 6 years? 2 years? Let me know in the comment section of this video. I'll let you know my opinion. I don't think Tyson Fury will be able to hold on to that belt for 6 months. Because, when it comes to Tyson Fury, when it comes to, I guess, boxing, hardcore boxing fans who are really big fans of a certain fighter, Tyson Fury has a group. He has a group of hardcore boxing fans that support him, cheer him on, always leave positive messages on his Twitter post, claim that he is the true heavyweight champion of the world and not Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Say that he would school guys like Joshua and Wilder. Now, when it comes to these fans, a lot of times boxing fans like this, they don't speak with their mind. They don't use their mind. They use their emotion. It's kind of like this past weekend. This past weekend, Jeff Horn fought Terrence Crawford, and there was a lot of Aussie boxing fans, a lot of Aussie boxing fans that were simply rooting for Jeff Horn because he was from Australia. He's an Aussie just like them. So just based off that fact, they were rooting for him and acting like he had a chance to beat someone in the level of Terrence Crawford. They weren't, I'm not saying all of them now, but a lot of them weren't using their minds and looking at the realistic when it came to skill for skills. Instead they were just using their, their emotions. Oh, this guy's from, my neck of the woods, therefore he has a chance against Terrence Crawford. They should have been looking at the actual talent that Jeff Horn possessed compared to someone like, Terrence Crawford, but they didn't do that. And this is the exact same way a lot of Tyson Fury fans approach him. They don't look at the reality. They just look at the fact that they're big fans of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, I don't think, was ever a great champion. And I'll tell you why. First of all, Tyson Fury, I don't think he has the discipline to be a great champion. B, I don't think he has the desire to become, a legend in this world of boxing. When you think of legends in boxing, when you think of heavyweights and guys that are respected, guys that fought from years ago, you think of guys like Joe Louis. Now, if you look at Joe Louis was a guy that defended his titles for about 10 years, right? Yes, 10 years he was heavyweight champion of the world. During those 10 years, he never got fat. He was always in shape, and he was knocking everybody out, right? Now, if Joe Louis would have beaten, I believe he beat the Cinderella Man. I forgot his name, but I believe his nickname was the Cinderella Man. Let's say he would have beaten him, and let's say he would have lost in his very first title defense. Nobody would be talking about Joe Louis. The reason people respect Joe Louis 80 years later is because he went on to defend his belt for 10 years. Things like that, leaving a record and a legacy like that, lasts a lifetime. Joe Louis has been retired for 65 years. Yet to this day, people talk highly about Joe Louis because of how long he defended his belts. When it comes to guys like Larry Holmes, Larry Holmes hasn't been heavyweight champions for about 33 years. To this day, people talk highly about Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes was a long-reigning champion. Muhammad Ali was a long-reigning champion. Even Mike Tyson was a long-reigning champion. He defended his belts for a while. When it comes to Tyson Fury doesn't have that. Tyson Fury had one victory, and then he fell off. He completely fell off. And a lot of people want to compare him to Muhammad Ali, but it's not the same. Muhammad Ali got stripped because he refused to go in and join a war. He didn't want to be in the Vietnam War, so they stripped him because of that. The punishment that they had on Ali was, okay, you don't want to participate in this war, we're going to strip your titles. When it came to Tyson Fury, it wasn't like that. He didn't get his title stripped because he refused to go to a war or anything like that. First of all, he got his IBF stripped because he didn't fight that guy that fought Charles Martin. That I believe is a Ukraine guy or Russian guy who was undefeated at Hype Jab. He didn't have enough time to prepare, so they stripped him of that title. And then what happened to Tyson Fury? He started having cocaine issues. He started gaining so much weight, and they basically did not allow him. And then he was having this thing where he was tested positive for drugs. So all these things was basically the reason why he didn't fight for 3 years. Muhammad Ali didn't gain 150 pounds in 3 years. Muhammad Ali wasn't on cocaine in 3 years. Tyson Fury was. So do not compare Tyson Fury to Muhammad Ali. I'll tell you why he won't have I just don't see Fury being a great champion ever because of his lack of discipline. I have a feeling that Fury is going to be one of those guys that, 50 years from now, people will just say, okay, Fury won the belt, but they're not going to be looking at him like an all-time great, like the way they look at Joe Louis, the way they look at Ali, the way they looked at, Larry Holmes. I don't think even Joe Calzaghe, guys like in other weight divisions, I don't think they're going to be looking at Tyson Fury like that because he doesn't have the discipline to have a long reign. Even if he wins, Tyson Fury is so undisciplined that he will balloon in weight and then eventually lose his titles and then eventually just retire like that. In boxing, you have to look at conditioning is very important in boxing. James Toney is a guy that was very talented. In his prime, James Toney was really untouchable. He looked like a middleweight version of Floyd Mayweather Jr. You don't believe me? Look at James Toney when he was fighting at middleweight, when he was in his prime. The dude had a really amazing, the way he could slip punches, the way he was, he was like the definition of a, defensive wizard. But James Toney had a problem, and that was he couldn't stop eating. And throughout his career, he ended up going up in weight to, super middleweight, light heavyweight, eventually cruiserweight, and eventually heavyweight. And it wasn't because he was a natural heavyweight or a natural cruiserweight. It was just because he didn't have the discipline to keep himself at 160. At his best weight, he was at 160, but because he was undisciplined, he was forced to move up in weight. And although he still had the skills, it slowed him down dramatically, and it wasn't effective. His style wasn't as effective as it was at 160. It just wasn't as effective in the higher weight classes, and the guys that up there were able to beat him. And remember, it slowed him down. And James Toney was a guy who had a lot of talent, but he threw it away because he was undisciplined. And this is how I feel when it comes to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury doesn't act like a fighter. He acts like your drunk uncle. That's how he acts like. He doesn't act like a professional fighter. And I just don't think that with this type of, ballooning in weight type of mindset where you fight one time and then you take 8 months off and you gain, 80 pounds of pure fat. That's not was going to make you a great champion. That's not going to give you longevity. And Vladimir Klitschko is another perfect example. Long reigning champion. Vladimir Klitschko was always in shape. Vladimir Klitschko was constantly busy. I don't see a guy ballooning weight up and down like this being an all-time great and having a long run. I see him losing. I see Tyson Fury losing soon. I don't know who's going to beat him, but someone will beat Tyson Fury. I just don't think Tyson Fury takes his career seriously. This is really just, in my opinion, I think he's going to just receive a big payday against Joshua, and then that's it, because he's going to lose to Joshua. In my opinion, I don't think he'll be champion again. I'll pick Wilder to beat him too. And that's just my opinion, guys. Just want to make this little video about this subject about Tyson Fury. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching as always, and hit the subscribe button, guys. I'm out.